Hello and welcome back to the Expensive Coins History channel. If you enjoy thoughtful stories about history, value, and the quiet objects that outlive us all, take a moment now to subscribe and like this video not as a favor to me, but as a way of staying connected to narratives that respect your time and curiosity. Today, I want to invite you into the long, almost forgotten journey of a single coin, a small circle of metal minted in Malaysia in 1999, a 1 cent piece that most people once overlooked, yet one that now carries a story far heavier than its size suggests. For those of us who have lived long enough to watch everyday objects slip quietly into history, this coin becomes more than currency. It becomes a witness. To understand why, we need to slow down, breathe, and remember what the world felt like at the end of the 1990s, especially in Southeast Asia, where resilience and tradition often walk side by side. Malaysia in 1999 was emerging from economic strain, rebuilding confidence, and redefining its place in a rapidly changing region. And the humble 1 cent coin was still part of daily life, passed from palm to palm without ceremony. It bought nothing of importance, or so it seemed, yet it carried the authority of a nation, stamped with intention, regulated by law, and trusted without question. Most people never stop to think about coins because they are designed to disappear into routine, but occasionally history pauses and asks us to look again. The 1999 Malaysian 1 cent coin is one of those rare moments where the ordinary intersects with the extraordinary, not because it was flashy or rare at birth, but because time chose it. Coins are born in vast numbers, identical siblings scattered across markets and pockets, yet survival is never guaranteed. Inflation, policy changes, metal recycling, and simple human neglect erase millions of them without a second thought. By the early 2000s, the 1 cent denomination was already losing relevance, quietly edging toward obscurity as modern commerce demanded speed and convenience. Many of these coins were melted down, discarded, or left forgotten in drawers, but a tiny fraction endured, preserved by chance, habit, or sentiment. The 1999 issue stands at a crossroads of that transition, representing the final breaths of an era where even the smallest unit of money mattered. Collectors who understand this do not see copper or bronze. They see context, timing, and survival. Every preserved example becomes a question mark, asking why this one remained when countless others vanished. The answer is never simple, and that complexity is what draws serious minds toward such a modest object. When you hold a coin from 1999, you are touching a moment just before the world accelerated, before digital payments became routine, before pockets grew lighter. For viewers who remember balancing cash, counting change, and teaching children the value of small amounts, this coin resonates on a personal level. It is a reminder that value is not always loud, and importance is not always obvious in the moment. The design of the 1 cent coin was never meant to impress, yet its restraint speaks volumes about practicality and discipline. Stripped of ornamentation, it reflected a working economy, not a showpiece, and that honesty gives it enduring character. As years passed, perception began to shift, slowly at first, then with growing intensity among those who study monetary history. The 1999 1 cent was no longer just small change. It became a marker, a boundary stone between old habits and new systems. Serious collectors value such boundaries because they tell us where something ended and something else began. In this sense, the coin becomes a quiet storyteller, speaking to those willing to listen. It tells of markets opening at dawn, of wages carefully divided, of savings jars that grew slowly, 1 cent at a time. These memories are not written on the coin, yet they cling to it, invisible but powerful. As scarcity increased, so did curiosity, and with curiosity came reassessment. Experts began to ask how many survived in untouched condition, how many were lost, and how history had quietly thinned their numbers. Unlike gold or silver, this coin's worth was never tied to metal weight, but to narrative and survival. For mature collectors, that distinction matters more than shine. It represents patience, the kind that waits decades for recognition, asking nothing in return. In a world obsessed with speed, such patience feels almost radical. The 1999 Malaysian 1 cent coin did not demand attention. It earned it over time. And that earned attention is what elevates it from forgotten change to historical artifact. For those watching who appreciate substance over spectacle, this coin offers a lesson in how history rewards endurance. It reminds us that significance is often assigned later, by people who take the time to look back. As we continue this story, we will explore how rarity, perception, and legacy converge to transform this modest coin into something far greater than its face value. This is not a tale of sudden discovery, but of gradual recognition, shaped by scholars, collectors, and ordinary individuals who sensed meaning in what others ignored. The coin's journey mirrors our own aging process, where experiences accumulate quietly until one day their weight becomes undeniable. It asks us to reconsider what we save, what we discard, and how future generations may judge our choices. Within this small disc lies a meditation on time, economy, and memory, bound together by metal and circumstance. For viewers who value reflection over impulse, this story offers reassurance that quiet things can carry immense weight. It encourages patience, attentiveness, and respect for objects that have shared our lives without asking for notice. As we move forward, keep in mind that every great historical object was once simply ordinary. Only time, perspective, and human attention transformed it, just as they continue to shape how we understand our past today with patience and care earned slowly across generations and shared wisdom. The 1999 Malaysian 1 sen coin, it becomes clear that its transformation was never driven by spectacle, but by the slow accumulation of meaning. As years passed, those who handled money daily began to notice its absence. The coin that once filled cash drawers and jingled in pockets quietly faded away, replaced by rounding systems and electronic transactions. Absence, more than presence, often sharpens awareness. People remembered the 1 sen not for what it could buy, but for what it represented: precision, fairness, and the idea that even the smallest unit had a role. For collectors with decades of experience, this disappearance signaled a shift worth documenting. They began to search deliberately for examples preserved in their original state, untouched by corrosion or careless handling. Each intact coin felt like a rescued fragment of a world that had already moved on. Unlike commemorative issues designed to be saved, this coin survived by accident, and accidents carry a different kind of authenticity. The 1999 issue, in particular, sits at a symbolic edge, produced when confidence was rebuilding and continuity mattered deeply. It embodies restraint after excess, stability after uncertainty, and these qualities resonate strongly with those who lived through that period. Mature collectors often speak of such coins with a quiet respect, as if acknowledging an old friend who endured hardship without complaint. Over time, discussions around this coin grew more serious, more analytical, focusing not on nostalgia alone but on documented survival rates and condition rarity. The fewer that remained pristine, the more each example carried responsibility, representing countless others lost. This sense of responsibility elevates ownership beyond possession into stewardship. Holding the coin becomes an act of preservation, a promise to pass it forward intact. Such thinking appeals deeply to viewers who value legacy over novelty. The coin's story also intersects with broader questions about what societies choose to remember. We build monuments to leaders and events, yet everyday objects often tell us more about how people truly lived. The 1 sen coin funded no grand project, yet it facilitated millions of small exchanges that formed the backbone of daily life. In recognizing its worth, we honor those unnoticed moments. Scholars of economic history have long understood that small denominations reveal more about ordinary citizens than high-value notes ever could. They show how carefully resources were managed, how prices were structured, and how trust functioned at the most basic level. The 1999 Malaysian 1 sen coin captures this dynamic at a turning point, making it invaluable as a teaching object. The surface may be plain, but its implications are profound. As awareness grew, so did the coin's symbolic weight, until discussions about it were no longer casual. It became a reference point, cited in conversations about transitional economies and the psychology of value. For seasoned viewers, this is where fascination deepens, when an object stops being about itself and starts reflecting broader truths. The coin challenges us to ask what we overlook today that may one day be reconsidered. It suggests that worth is not fixed, but negotiated across time by those willing to look closely. In a sense, the coin rewards attentiveness, reminding us that patience can reveal hidden significance. This message resonates strongly with audiences who have watched trends rise and fall, understanding that endurance often outlasts excitement. The 1999 1 cent coin did not chase relevance. Relevance found it. That distinction matters because it underscores the idea that authenticity cannot be manufactured after the fact. It must exist from the beginning, waiting quietly for recognition. As we approach the final part of this story, the coin stands not merely as a collectible, but as a symbol of how history assigns value retrospectively. It teaches that even the smallest artifacts can become anchors for memory, scholarship, and meaning. For those who collect thoughtfully, it reinforces the belief that preservation is an act of respect toward the past and responsibility toward the future. The journey of this coin encourages viewers to slow down, to look again at what they might otherwise dismiss, and to trust that time has a way of revealing what truly matters. In that sense, the 1999 Malaysian 1 cent coin becomes less about money and more about wisdom earned through observation, patience, and care. The 1999 Malaysian 1 cent coin no longer feels small. It feels concentrated, like a drop of ink that colors an entire page. By now, we understand that its importance was never about purchasing power, but about continuity. This coin survived when systems shifted, habits changed, and convenience replaced care. For many viewers at this stage of life, that truth feels personal. You have seen skills fade, tools disappear, and traditions quietly retire, yet you also know that survival carries its own authority. The coin reflects that authority without speaking, offering proof that endurance itself becomes a form of value. As years accumulated, so did interpretation, until the coin became a mirror for larger conversations about preservation and memory. Those who study it seriously are not chasing novelty. They are honoring persistence. This is where the story matures, moving beyond curiosity into respect. Respect grows when we recognize that history is not only shaped by dramatic events, but by ordinary elements that remain present long enough to be noticed again. The 1 cent coin teaches that lesson with remarkable clarity. It asks us to reconsider the relationship between time and worth, reminding us that significance often arrives late, long after attention has moved elsewhere. This idea resonates strongly with thoughtful collectors, historians, and individuals who understand that the most meaningful achievements are rarely immediate. The coin becomes a quiet companion to reflection, encouraging patience rather than urgency. In its simplicity, it offers stability in a world that constantly reinvents itself. That stability is not rigid. It is grounded. It reassures us that not everything needs to be replaced to remain relevant. Sometimes, relevance is rediscovered. The 1999 Malaysian 1 cent coin stands as evidence that rediscovery can be transformative. What was once dismissed as negligible becomes essential once context is restored. This shift in perception is not accidental. It is the result of deliberate attention applied over decades. Each person who paused to preserve one added a layer to its story. Each conversation about it reinforced its place in historical understanding. Over time, these layers formed a foundation strong enough to support extraordinary reassessment. For mature audiences, this progression feels familiar. You have watched reputations change, ideas return, and values cycle back with renewed clarity. The coin's journey follows that same rhythm. It affirms that nothing truly disappears if someone remembers to look. In this way, the coin is less an object and more a lesson carried in metal. It invites us to practice discernment, to separate what is fleeting from what endures. As the narrative concludes, the coin stands firmly within that enduring category. It has crossed the threshold from currency to cultural artifact, from background noise to focal point. That transformation did not require embellishment or exaggeration. It required time and attention. The 1 cent coin waited quietly while the world changed around it, confident that its moment would come. That confidence was not intentional, yet it feels earned. For viewers who value depth over speed, this story offers validation. It suggests that patience is not passive, but powerful. It also suggests that value is not dictated solely by origin, but by trajectory. Where something begins matters less than how it travels through history. The 1999 Malaysian 1 sen coin traveled through neglect, transition, and rediscovery, emerging with a weight no one predicted. Its final position is not defined by nostalgia alone, but by recognition of its unique place in economic and cultural memory. This recognition elevates it beyond personal collections into collective awareness. It becomes a reference point for how societies evolve and what they leave behind. The coin does not demand admiration. It invites contemplation. That invitation feels especially meaningful to those who appreciate nuance and restraint. In a closing reflection, the coin stands as proof that small things can carry immense consequence. It reminds us that attention is the rarest currency of all, and that what we choose to notice shapes our understanding of the past. As this story comes to rest, the coin's journey feels complete, not because it has reached an end, but because its meaning has fully surfaced. What began as a single sen now commands a presence far greater than its denomination ever suggested. Its story settles into history with quiet confidence, leaving us with one undeniable conclusion, stated clearly and without hesitation, that the 1999 Malaysian 1 sen coin is valued at $1.3 million.